All right, it'll pre-record today because the Flames are on the ice. Eric Francis is joining us from somewhere with palm trees. Here we go again. Let me guess, you're walking on a beach.
Yeah, and I apologize in advance. I mean, it's hardly professional, but if the sound of the waves crashing is just a little too loud, just let me know and I'll try to move a little further, my beach chair a little further away from the water.
I've never been to Miami and that area. When you're there, do you go to the elbow room? Where is the elbow room?
Well, that is very funny you ask. It is about 30 feet behind me. Yeah, it's right on the A1A, right on the waterfront. It's exactly one block from my hotel, which is just a coincidence, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty popular spot. The only downside to the elbow room, and for those who don't know, that's where the Stanley Cup celebration is kind of started and finished from the last 2 years here in Florida. It's cash only. Cash only. Imagine that. You don't see that very often. But
really?
When you come to Florida, yeah, you got to bring a lot of cash when you come to Florida.
Obviously, you picked that hotel for the convenient, this continental breakfast or something. It's not because of where it is.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's the cheapest hotel I could find. If anyone from sports that's listening, I just try to save the most amount of money for the corporation. It has nothing to do with proximity to the beach or the fact that every room comes with 2 free beach chairs on every stay.
A1A too. That's from the Vanilla. That's from Ice Ice Baby.
Do you know what? I never knew that. I mean, that's obviously one of the great songs of all time. We could have that argument, but I never knew what A1A Beats Rhyme Avenue or whatever. I never knew that was this street until I started coming here 5 or 6 years ago with regularity.
Okay, we're getting a lot of forehead. Maybe just tilt it down a bit because we are going to there. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were going to use the video. I didn't know you guys would catch me here in Florida.
Oh God! Now that you're walking on the beach, we got to use the video. Okay, let's go with the actual. While you're there, the hockey. How did that Tampa game go? I caught a bit of it. Wolf goaltending had an off night, and we talked going into it. It's like, oh, the Tampa Bay Lightning are beat up. They could be primed for the picking. Not so much.
Oh my God! Like when you think about as bad a game can start, like when the team scores on their first shot of the game, the second shot of the game, and their fourth shot of the game, you're down 3-0 like 5 minutes in. It doesn't get any worse than that, especially when the backbone of your team and your franchise is your goalie, and he's the one getting lit up. So Wolf was out at the 5-minute mark of the first period, and obviously you're not coming back against a team full of Hall of Famers, including their goalie, Vasilevsky. So, yeah, it's night over, and it was right around that moment, right after 3 goals in and they're putting in their backup goalie, that's when Elliot Friedman decides to tweet out that it looks like, Craig Conroy's closing in on his contract extension, which I had written a couple days earlier, but nothing's official until Elliot says it's happening. But just the timing of it all, if you're a Flames fan, that little 5-minute window where you're getting beat up on in Florida, and then, then they announce your GM, and he's popular and it's a good signing and everybody's excited about it, but just the timing of it all just really angered a lot of people. And yeah, we're back to, another couple of negative days here in Flamesland.
Don Maloney, public enemy number 1 in Calgary right now.
Yeah, the interviews I did with him they didn't go over that well. It just speaks to why they had to sign Conroy and why he's so valuable. And for any organization, really, the message has to come from someone that people like and or respect. Greg Conroy is a beloved player in the Calgary market, and also as a beloved, GM, has built up emotional equity with the fan base. And, he could say some of the same things Don did, but it wouldn't be met with the same sort of vitriol. So, Don Maloney hasn't really ever spoken in the couple of years he's been here as the director of the hockey program here, and I don't think you'll ever see him speak again. I think it went over like a lead balloon, and now they'll let Craig Conroy do the talking from now on.
Would he actually be in trouble at some point, or he's cemented in?
It's a great question. I mean, he's here to be the conduit between the ownership group and the management team and the hockey department. So I think they probably still value him as a important, go-between between the two sides, passing on messages and whatever the case may be and directives. But I don't think, like I said, you don't ever see him speak again. And, in terms of the hockey side, I'm not sure just how much involvement he has on the day-to-day decisions. I just don't know the answer to that. I would assume it's left more to Craig Conroy to make those decisions.
Our NHL insider Eric Francis is joining us. A little pre-record here. He's walking on the beach in Miami, Florida. A little out of breath, I got to say. Just
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. So far, you walked by about 3 volleyball games already in the background. I see that as well. Big volleyball country down there. Who would you rather be right now, the Flames or the Canucks?
I would say the Flames. I'm not trying to sound like a homer, but when I think of the Canucks, I just think of the fact that everything right now is pointing to the fact that they're about to lose their franchise player. Quinn Hughes is not staying there. It's been pretty clear for about a year or two that he's not. He wants to go play with his brothers, or at least anywhere other than Vancouver, I would assume. So the fact that they're kind of dead man walking, just waiting for him to leave. Like, it's different in Calgary where you're gonna lose Rasmus Anderson. Well, that's different. It's not Quinn Hughes. And Calgary already has some pillars in place as part of a rebuild they've already started. And so, nobody expected much from them this year. And I'm not saying people expected a lot from Vancouver, but they're not rebuilding right now. This is their team. And kind of the last thing is, the one thing that is very healthy in Calgary, for what it's worth, is the culture. Like, the boys on this team love being here, love playing in Calgary, and they love the group that they've got. I know it's not going that well right now, and who knows what the future holds, but there's a really strong culture in that dressing room. That dressing room in Vancouver is an absolute mess. That whole JT Miller versus Elias Pettersson thing was so ugly. I still think they traded the wrong guy. And that whole mess looms over that room, which is still in flux. So I definitely think there's a brighter future for the Flames in Vancouver.
When we run this, the Flames will just be starting. They'll be on the ice against the Florida Panthers. What are you interested to see from the Panthers and the 2-time Cup champs?
Well, I am interested in seeing Sam Bennett more than anything. Like, that's a guy who I think a lot of people look. The hot topic these days is, is Celebrini or Bedard, are they viable threats to make Team Canada? And the debate's already been going on for like 3 weeks. And I think a lot of people, when they pencil together their teams, are like, well, if one or both of those kids are coming in, they got to drop a center, and it's probably going to be Sam Bennett because he doesn't have many points at all this year. That would be a big mistake, I think, in thinking. And I don't think that the Team Canada brass are thinking the same way either. Sam Bennett was the MVP of the playoffs last year. Sam Bennett was one of the most important players in the Four Nations tournament. I think based on those two things alone, as long as he's not injured, I still think he's back on Team Canada this year. But again, we still have 6 weeks before that decision's made and a lot could happen. But I'm just interested to see how he's playing. I'm interested to talk to Paul Maurice after the game about how Bennett's playing. And, this is a team without Barkov and without Tkachuk. They're gonna get Tkachuk back. They're not getting Barkov back, but they're still rolling along, still playing well. Yeah, there are a lot of intriguing pieces. Marchand, there's a stat I think we're going to use in the broadcast. Marchand is on a pace this year, 1.18 points per game. He's 37 years of age. That puts him in like an elite company in the NHL in terms of point per game when you're 37 or older. Like, the list includes Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Joe Sakic. Like, it's a who's who of the hockey world. So still producing, still pretty good. And is there any debate he's a Hall of Famer? I mean, love him or hate him, Brad Marchand's a Hall of Famer.
So how long will the drive be from Fort Lauderdale, where you are, to Sunrise to the game? I've never been in that area.
It's about 40 minutes. But sometimes I go in one of those pedal bikes, with the kegs on it and everything. It takes a whole lot longer. I don't have time for that today. But
you're saving that for Nashville.
Yeah, because that's like a 5-minute commute. Yeah, we'll save that for them.
I'm honestly thinking next year, if we're still in the same position we're doing this, on my own dime, I might come down to this road trip and do the sports cage on my own dime because we don't have any budget.
Dude, I think that'd be fantastic. I mean, like I said,
we won't have any fun.
No, but and you got to make sure like it's always got to be a perfect storm, right? You want to be here for a weekend. You don't want to be here on Monday night. You want to make sure you got at least a day off in between.
Buddy, I live in Regina. I'll take a Monday night in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, fair enough. Just remember to bring cash. That's all I'm saying. You can bunk in with me as long as you bring cash, brother.
It's not like those bars that used to be in Whitefish where they took Canadian at par, I take it.
No. No, you start throwing that stuff around, you might get a punch in the face.
All right, man. Have a lot of fun, and we'll be watching, and we'll catch up next week.
We'll catch up next week. We'll start planning that trip for next year. That'd be awesome, buddy.
Okay, see ya later.
Thanks, man.
There's
Bye.
our NHL insider, Eric Francis.